Pakistanis and U.S. react to assassination. Slain Bhutto hailed as moderating influence on homeland. New York. Pakistanis across the U.S., regardless of whether they supported Benazir Bhutto, mourned her on Thursday and are worried that her assassination could or probably will destabilize their homeland and threaten the safety of family members living there. I imagine this is how the people of this country felt after Kennedy's assassination, said Syed Hassan, a Houston resident who moved from Pakistan 20 years ago. When these kind of things happen, it just shatters you. At least 500,000 Pakistanis live in the United States, with the largest concentrations in New York and New Jersey, according to a Boston University professor. A former journalist of a Pakistani news agency, now living in New Brunswick, New Jersey, predicted Bhutto's assassination would force cancellation of Pakistan's upcoming elections. He said many Pakistanis would blame President Pervez Musharraf for the killing, bringing a lot of chaos and unrest. President Musharraf wouldn't give Bhutto the proper cell phone jammers, wouldn't give her enough of the ones he did, were always malfunctioning. That kind of makes it an accessory kind of deal, I would imagine. If you don't have the proper jammers to jam the communications between the real terrorists, that kind of enables them, I would think. Anyway, yes, it has already started today. There might be a civil war. Musharraf should be planning his exit, the former journalist said. Security measures in New York. New York City is home to the nation's largest Pakistani community with more than 100,000 residents who trace their heritage to that country, according to Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who released a statement Thursday deploring the assassination. The city stepped up security outside the Pakistani consulate on the Upper East Side of Manhattan and the residences of the UN ambassador and the consulate general. Bloomberg said security also would be increased outside Pakistani airlines, Pakistani banks, and parts of the city with the most Pakistani residents. In a neighborhood dubbed Curry Hill, just south of Midtown on Manhattan's east side, Pakistanis were glued to television sets as news of Bhutto's death unfolded. I love her, it's very sad, said Sharmin Talukbar, 32, who struggled not to weep as she bustled behind the counter of a Pakistani restaurant. In another nearby restaurant, a waiter who was wearing a Yankees cap worried about the aftermath of the slaying. This is very, very bad for Pakistan's image abroad, said the waiter, who immigrated to the United States 12 years ago. In Pakistan, it's sad to say, there is no tolerance. She was the only hope for Pakistan, another says. In Chicago, Syed Raza was driving his taxi when he heard the news that the 54-year-old former Prime Minister had been gunned down. He called his regular clients to say he was too grief-stricken to work, and within an hour stood on a corner in the heart of Chicago's main Pakistani neighborhood holding a small picture of Bhutto. She was the only hope for Pakistan, said Raza, who has worked as a cab driver for 20 years. Like other Pakistani Americans, Raza spent much of Thursday on the phone with friends and relatives in Pakistan. Raza's wife was in Karachi with the couple's 3 children and told him she could hear gunfire and see smoke from riots in the city. There's big chaos there, he said. I'm very, very worried about my wife and kids. In New Jersey, a former president and chairman of the Pakistani League of America, said he heard the news of Bhutto's death Thursday morning by phone from his brother, who lived about 100 miles from Lahore. "I don't have words to say," said a retired chemist who has lived in Edison, New Jersey since leaving Pakistan in 1971. "I'm so shocked. She was a symbol of modern Islam." No, this is another sign of the last days, and there are many of them, multitudes and multitudes.